Hello everyone, my name's John Locke from Locking Your Success, and today we're going to be talking about mastery and what's holding you back from becoming a successful trader. Before we get going, we have a few disclaimers to go over, and we're just going to let you know that this presentation is for educational purposes only. We are not broker-dealers or financial advisors, and we're not making any specific trade recommendations. Also, please be aware that your risk of loss in trading options is substantial, and make sure that you are aware of all your risks prior to placing any trades. Now, let's go back to talking about mastery. What is holding you back from becoming a long-term successful option trader? And I say long-term because it's easy to be successful short-term at trading. I mean, it's not all that uncommon to see someone trading and doing extremely well for a few months, a year, or even multiple years without even following a solid trading plan. Now, there are many good reasons why someone might be successful short term. One reason, obviously, could be due to luck. A really simplistic example might be the trader who started with long positions or positions that take advantage of the market going up in late 2011. Since then, the market's done nothing but climb with very few exceptions. In fact, the S&P is up over 100%, I believe, in the last 4 or 5 years. So just about anyone could take just about any bullish bias system. In fact, they could evenly randomly buy things and do extremely well over the last 4 years. This isn't skill, it's luck. Another reason you might be successful short term is because you found a nice, what we call trade in the box. This is one of these trading systems or very strict rule-based systems that happen to be working in the current environment. You know, sometimes the environment may favor one of these systems for years and they might work well for a very long time before they blow apart. But just because something seems to be going well now, you don't want to fall into the trap of thinking that it's going to work forever. I'm reminded of when I started income trades back in 2006, when the high probability condor was the trade. If you're familiar with what that is, it's just a very wide iron condor, and you know that worked well for years until, of course, it didn't, and then it didn't work well at all. And because many of these traders thought the rule set would work forever, they never truly learned how to manage positions properly, so they had quite a problem when the system was no longer viable. And another thing some traders have short-term success with is trading services or trade alert services or trade alongs. Is that a way to be successful long-term? I mean, you can find someone who's been doing well for the last few years and follow them, right? What's wrong with that? Well, whether there's anything wrong with it or not sort of depends. Because I'm not necessarily against trade alert services. I mean, if you're the type of person that doesn't want to be a full-time trader, or you're using discretionary funds and you don't ever want to rely on your trading for income, then they're fine. If you happen to get a good one, it can be fun and you might even make a little bit of money for a while. But if your goal is to support yourself through trading, that's another story. And I can certainly understand if you're new to trading, why trade alerts might seem like a great idea. Heck, to me, when I was new, they sounded really good. You know, because I was doing this trading thing for a while. I took a lot of classes and I thought I tried everything. And whatever I was doing, it just didn't seem to be working out. I was just really frustrated. So out of desperation, I tried trading services. I checked them out, and yes, they appeared to have a really good track record. In fact, I had a friend, a fellow trader who was on one of these services who quit his job to trade full time and follow a trade alert service. And at first I thought, wow, that's awesome. Here's the challenge though. I asked myself, what exactly am I trying to accomplish by following a trading services? Why did I get into trading? Did I do it to continue to depend on someone else to support me? No, of course not. The real reason I got into trading is because I wanted to control my own financial destiny, leave my job, have more time freedom, create the confidence and pride that I can finally take care of myself. and I can rely on myself to do well into the future. And I was thinking, after all these years of trading my precious time for money in a job, time that I'm never going to get back, why would I give up my dream of being self-reliant in order to follow a trading service? I mean, if the guy or gal that I'm following has a rule-based system, then I should know what that system is, right? And if I'm going to go out and put my financial future in someone else's hands by following their trade alerts, then I should at least know what they're doing. And I should also prove to myself that it works through back testing, right? And if I know what their system is and I prove to myself that it works, then what do I need them for? I can just follow the rules myself. But then I started thinking, what if they're doing discretionary stuff and making discretionary or their own decisions based on nuances that I don't know about instead of just this rule set? Well, then maybe I should follow them, right? But as I continued that train of thought, my focus turned back to the success principles that I had been studying and teaching for years. You see, before I got into trading, I was a success coach and I helped people overcome obstacles and become successful in whatever they were doing. And I already knew all the success principles of what I needed to be successful. And I'm comparing following a trading service to those principles. And I began to realize there was a problem in the way I was thinking. So let me tell you a little bit about that. A trader's long-term success does not hinge on a particular trading system, and it doesn't hinge on following someone else's judgment calls. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of ways to make money in trading, and chances are you already have enough knowledge to do so. I know I did at that time. And you probably have already traded systems that'll give you the results you're looking for as well. So for example, currently I sell multiple trading systems, every one of which, if you were to just follow the rules or the guidelines in the systems, it'll put you in the top 5% of traders in the world. The rules and examples can be purchased through our programs, so they're easy to get. I do a webinar every Monday morning for free, and I show sample trades where I do nothing but follow the guidelines in the course. I detail what I did, and I often outline what I'm going to do. And certainly if I'm asked, I'll freely tell you what I'm going to do. So you have all the directions that you need right there. And all you have to do is one thing. You have to make the decision to follow them and actually make the trades when and only when they're required. And you know what? I also do coaching. And thus far, 100% of the time when somebody contacts me for coaching who isn't successful with one of my trading systems and we get to talking, I find out that they're just simply not following the systems. They're not making the decisions that they need to make and taking the actions that the system tells them to take in order to do it. And that's the reason they're having trouble. They're not able to pull the trigger when it's required to do so. And the number one request I get from these traders is for me to start a trade alert program where I can make the decision for them. Now keep in mind, there's a lot of demand for this type of a service, and from a business standpoint, it would be tremendously profitable for me to start one. These services are cash cows for the people that run them. That isn't to say that the people that run them are bad or they're trying to take advantage of somebody, because I don't believe necessarily, for the most part, that that's the case. A lot of them are good people. A lot of them are just trying to make a living on their own. So, but I could start one of these, and I could start a service that says, follow me. Our projected return is 100% per year, and I guarantee 50% per year or your money back. And I know I could easily pull that off because I've been trading these systems since 2007, right? And consistently every year we're pulling those kind of numbers pretty regularly. So if I was to start a trade alert service like that, How much could I charge for something like that? I would say that I could easily charge $1,000 a month. I mean, we're talking 50% a year guaranteed, or your money back, right? That's pretty good. If you can make that kind of, if you have a lot of money and you can do that, that's worth a lot of money. That's going to be worth a lot to you. How many people do you think I could get to buy into a service like that? Um, Gosh, I don't know, but I said, well, I'm sure I could get 100 people. I mean, that would be a no-brainer. I could do that pretty easily. And if we did the math on something like that, that's $100,000 a month of income coming in for me, or $1.2 million a year. And all I have to do is send out trade alerts. And that's being really conservative. And that's a lot of money. I mean, in reality, if I'm bringing in that kind of money from trade alerts, I wouldn't even have to live trade. Heck, why would I put my money at risk in the market at all if I could do that? I mean, would probably want to keep a small portion of my money in the market and live trade with it, just for posterity's sake, to say that, hey, these are live trades. But other than that, why would I put a bunch of money at risk when I can collect that kind of money? It just wouldn't make sense. So, why wouldn't I start a trading service? It seems foolish on my part. Well, there's several reasons why I wouldn't do that. And the first and foremost is because my objective in this business is not to get rich off of your money. My objective in this business is to help people by changing their lives. My goal and intent behind everything I do is to help you become powerful, confident, competent, and happy traders. What I want for you is I want you to become a master at trading, someone who can adapt to market conditions, who can learn to trade and take a rule-based system, possibly, and trade it. But if the time should ever come that rule-based system doesn't work anymore, then you know how to deal with that, you know how to adapt to that, and you know how to push forward and continue to be profitable, even though circumstances have changed in the market. And as a trading performance coach and a respected master NLP practitioner, I have found that having other people make your decisions by following things such as trading alert services is one of the most destructive things you can do for your long-term success as a trader. Following someone else's directions does not build your skill. Following someone else's directions does not build confidence in yourself and how well you trade. And following someone else or having someone else make those decisions for you does not help with your decision-making processes to make you a better trader. I mean, sure, you might make money with a trading alert services, and you might make money faster using a trade alert service than you may if you went and you figured it out on your own. But make no mistake, you're wasting your time and you're sabotaging your long-term success. You will never become a master trader this way, because what you're doing is avoiding the number one most important thing that you need to do in order to become a long-term successful master trader. And that is learning, practicing, and developing confidence in yourself and in your ability to act on your decisions. This is the only way you're going to be capable of making good, decisive decisions on your own, particularly when things stop working for you. Because the reality is that master traders are not great because of a trading system. Trading systems and styles, they come and go. It doesn't matter how good they are. Something always happens at some point where they're no longer valid. And if the trades aren't working out, a master trader doesn't care because he's learned and practiced being confident in himself and in his decisions. Therefore, he knows he can simply adapt and keep right on going. Traders who follow someone else and hope, on the other hand, are not developing these critical skill sets that are required for long-term success. Therefore, they're always at the mercy of hoping someone else knows what to do so that they can follow them. When we follow trade alerts, we're paying someone else to make our choices for us and hoping they know what they're doing. We do this because it's easy. It's a way to gain short-term relief from the pain of being wrong, and it's a way of blaming our problems on someone else. This is the classic mindset of a long-term loser, and it's what we are developing when we follow trading alerts. It's simply a bad idea. Now, I admit that you can do well following a trading service. You can certainly gain confidence in the person calling the shots, especially if things are going well. You can even gain confidence in that system that you're trading, that system's a very good system and it's working well. And that's great. But project forward in time for a moment to when you go out and quit your job and support yourself with these things. What are you going to do when this person has a bad streak, or when the trading system has a bad streak and it no longer works? We all have them. All systems have their weaknesses, no matter how good they seem to be working now. Are you going to lose confidence in the service or in the system when that happens? Where does that leave you? What happens if the system no longer, or the service no longer exists, right? If you're depending on them to adapt to whatever happens, what's ever going to happen in the future. What happens if they no longer exist? What if the person doing it retires because he's making so much money off the trade alerts? What if he or she drops dead, right? Gets sick and can no longer do it, or just has a change in life and doesn't want to do it anymore? What happens in that case when they're gone? Where does that leave you? It leaves you as the guy or girl with no confidence in himself or herself, no real way of knowing how to adapt to the market, and no income. And that's probably not the best circumstances in which to go searching for another trading service or some other trade. These are all problems that occur when we act like puppets and let other people pull our strings. We end up following those people and jumping from one thing to the next, never gaining the confidence in ourselves that's required in order for us to reach our goals. So those are some things to avoid. Now let's look at what it does take to become a master trader, not just in the market, but at anything. Well, if you look at top performing people in virtually any field, including trading, they have several things in common. One thing is that they have a great coach. A good performance coach does a lot of things. He provides education, encouragement, guidance, a sense of direction. He helps you open up new distinctions, provides feedback and encouragement. He helps you discover your unique strengths and how to overcome weaknesses. Something a good coach does not do, however, is he will never do your task for you. A good football coach shows you how to tackle, but he does not tackle the players. A good running coach shows you how to run properly, gives you tips, tells you how to do better, but he doesn't run for you. And a good trading coach does not make your trading decisions for you. And here's why. I used to train with, well, let's call it something similar to law enforcement. And now, when I was training people how to negotiate a hostile situation, the easy part is teaching them what general words to say when they're negotiating, how to actually fight, and how to use a gun. Though that's easy. It's much more difficult, however, to teach someone exactly when to say the words, exactly when to fight or walk away, and exactly when you need to shoot somebody. Sure, there are times when you would always do this, or you might always do that, but a vast majority of the time, things are going to be a lot more ambiguous. Each confrontation is different in its own way, and people can react very differently to the exact same stimulus. Therefore, there's just no way of saying, do this every time that happens, and everything's going to be okay. What this means is that they need to know more than the mechanics. They need to learn the critical skill of how to read situations, make decisive decisions, and take action. In order to accomplish this, we run simulations where the person tries his decision skills in various situations. Inevitably, what he'll find is that although he knows the skills and is fully competent with the mechanics of what he needs to do, he ends up failing repeatedly. And he gets frustrated because he knows the skills, and he knows the skills. Why aren't they working? This failure often causes the student not to trust his skills and go looking for new skills. But that's not the problem. His skills are fine. What he needs to realize is that the skills are only 20% of what he needs to know to be a master at what he does. The rest of it lies within himself. It's something that he can't buy in a course at any price, and it's something that no one can do for him. It's something he has to do for himself, and it's going to take time. And persistently doing the right things over and over and over again in order to master. What he has not yet learned are the critical skills of how to properly interpret real-life situations and make his own decisive decisions under pressure in an efficient, effective manner. In order to do this, he must be exposed repeatedly to challenging situations and fail many, many times. And as he fails, he learns. And as he learns, he improves. Eventually, his training will progress into live situations, usually with a mentor. And during these confrontations, the mentor will not interfere with what's going on. He must let the trainee make his own decisions and deal with the consequences, with the only exception being the case where it would be an absolute last resort in order to intervene. This is because the only way for the trainee to learn such things and thereby ensure his long-term survival out in the real world on his own is to experience them himself and make the decisions on his own. And therefore, continually doing that, he will start making better decisions and become a master in his field. As traders, we face the same challenges. It's easy to learn the mechanics of options trading. It's easy to memorize a set of instructions and know everything you can know about an option. But that's only 20% of the game, and you don't want to spend all of your time there because the other 80% requires a lot more. It's much more difficult to make and follow through with the decisions about the ambiguous situations that you're going to face constantly while trading. Yet that is what's required for you to be a master at this game. So when we talk about what it takes to be long-term successful in the market, the first thing to avoid is the major pitfalls, and those would be thinking that more mechanical skills are the best way to improve your performance. Chances are, if you're here at a webinar like this, you probably have adequate skills. Another thing might be mistaking luck for a good concept or trading skill. The master realizes that just because something seems to be working doesn't mean it's viable long term, and he knows for sure it's not going to be working forever. Another one would be expecting the same set of rules to work in all market conditions. Market conditions change, and there are sets of rules that work in a very wide variety of conditions that do well a lot of the time. But unless you're really good at managing your money and you can withstand years of this, whatever you're doing not working, in the event we go through a long period of time where the market conditions are not, and the rules don't match, you can have real problems, right? And that brings us to the next thing. It would be looking for a set of rules that work well in all market conditions. You're not going to find one. You can, like I said, get some that work in a lot of market conditions, but you're not going to find things that work all the time in all market conditions. So rather than doing this and wasting our time with that, the master spends his time finding out when specific things work well and when they don't. And by knowing that, you realize how to utilize them, and you can do better and adapt them for different market conditions. And another thing we want to avoid if you want to become a master trader is certainly trading alert services, because the most important skill to develop for becoming a long-term successful trader that's adaptable is your ability to interpret situations, make good decisions, and then develop the confidence to pull the trigger in real time. How many times have you known exactly what to do or exactly how to get something that you wanted? You saw the opportunity and you simply couldn't get yourself to pull the trigger and take action. Depending on others to make your choices for you encourages this type of wimpy behavior, not just in trading, but in all parts of your life. So let's talk about what it takes to become a master trader. Up until this point, we've been saying that mechanics are only a small part of your success, but they are an absolutely necessary part. You cannot be successful long term without them. However, it's not about going out and looking for the next best thing, and then the next best thing, and then the next best thing. The master is going to take a basic set of rules, tools, or techniques and practice them over and over and over again until they're fully understood and fully internalized. And then he will practice them again. This is opposed to the average trader who gets a set of tools, fools around with them for a while, and then goes looking for something better. Sort of like if you took a look at the difference between a professional basketball player and an amateur basketball player. A professional basketball player like Michael Jordan, he used to be one of the best basketball players in the world. Some people may argue he still is. And if you ask him what he did every day, he did 1,000 free shots every day, free throws. And you might wonder, why would he do that? Why would somebody as talented as Michael Jordan be doing free throws and practicing the basics every day when he could be doing all the fancy stuff? But if you talk to him, that's what it takes in order to become a master basketball player. In contrast, if you're looking at the amateur or the weekend basketball player, he'll learn a set of skills. He'll learn how to do free throws, and he'll be like, well, I already know how to do that. I'm going to do something more fancy. And he's going to keep doing that and keep looking for something, the more and more technical, fancy looking things. But the thing is, he's never going to progress. He's never going to get any better. Sure, he might feel better because he knows fancy things, but he's never going to be like a Michael Jordan because he's not going out and he's not staying with the basics. So you really, really need to know the mechanics, and you need to practice them regularly, especially the basics of the mechanics. And we can learn these mechanics through either purchasing programs or observing other people who are successful and modeling them. And at this point, I'd like to make a point that there's a big difference between modeling somebody and learning from them as opposed to depending on them to make decisions for you. In the first case, if you're modeling someone, you're coming from a positive place of confidence, and you have the attitude that if he can do it, so can I. And by modeling him, I can get there faster. In the second case, you're coming from a place of weakness where you're either A, not willing to do what it takes to become a competent trader in the first place, or out of frustration because you've decided not to follow the basic systems that work on your own. And that's a really important distinction because the first route leads to mastery and the second route leads to ultimate failure. Not just in trading, but in your life, because these attitudes overlap and push into other areas of your life. If you're modeling somebody that's successful in one part of your life as a learning process, the next time you have a learning process, you're going to tend to model in that area of your life and get better and better and better and increase your learning speed and get better. Whereas if you're a follower and you're coming from a place of weakness and you're depending on them to make your decisions for you, right? That also flows into other parts of your life. So you just need to be aware of that what you're doing here in your trading, even if you're not necessarily wanting to become a professional trader, you're probably like that in a lot of different parts of your life. And this leads us to the next thing that you need to know to become a master. And really, this is much more important than the techniques, and it's having the proper mindset. I've found out through the years of coaching that I've done and helping people become successful that you can give someone all the tools and techniques they need in order to become tremendously successful. And you can show them how to use the tools repeatedly until they know them completely. But if they don't have their head in the game, their success will always be limited, no matter how smart they are and no matter what fancy tools they're using. But if you have the proper mindset, on the other hand, I find I don't need to, if the client has a proper mindset, I find that I don't need to show them many tools at all because they don't need them. All they need is the basics, and then they create what they want. So that's why whenever I'm coaching, I always find some sort of way to include mindset in the process because it's so extremely important. And of course, every top performing individual needs a good coach and mentor as well. And there's a great reason for that. Because a coach is going to help you define your goals and set a path. He'll help you to determine and acquire the tools and techniques that you'll need to get there. He'll help you through all the nuances and the decision-making processes that need to be made on your path to becoming a master. And of course, he'll help you keep your head on straight so you can thrive long-term in whatever you're choosing to do. That's essentially the job of a coach. So about 4 years ago, knowing coaching is so important, I started a group session, group coaching program with SMB Trading with the objective of addressing all of the needs we've been talking about for the past, I don't know, 15 minutes. And we did that for about 2.5 to 3 years. In that time frame, I did over 60 lessons that were at least an hour long. Lessons where we covered trade examples, of course, but also so much more than that. You see, in the M3, the Bearish Butterfly, the Rock, and M21 programs, we show you the framework around the trades, but in the programs themselves, our time's pretty limited. There's only so much that we can do. And even if we could give you all the information that you need to be the biggest, best, most complete trader that you could possibly be, all that information, there's no way you can take it in all at once. It would just be confusing and often counterproductive. And it's a little frustrating on my part because there's so much there that I want to teach you that I just would love to just pop it into your head. But the reality is there's no way I could do it in a couple of hours. But I could do it an hour at a time over a long period of time. So what we did is we had 2 coaching sessions a month solving the challenges that real traders experienced, not only with the M3 Bearish Butterfly Rock and M21 trade rules, but what they were experiencing live trading with them. We covered concepts such as trading psychology, trade execution, how to properly enter, exit, and adjust trades in the best possible manners, and the best ways to execute and move our trades around in the best and most effective manner. We also went through decision-making processes and nuances in all the systems, and most importantly, we discussed mastery and how to achieve it. It was fantastic. So it was a really great time. But since it's over, why am I telling you this? Well, it's because SMB has put these sessions together and made them available as a package. And if you take a look at this, there's 64 hours of lessons here covering just about any topic you can think of. We talk about entering, exiting, and adjusting M3, Rock, Bearish Butterfly, and M21 trades. We have trade reviews of trades. We talk about the end game in the M3 and really through the series in all the trades. What do we do in expiration week? One of the things that happens, or maybe even a few weeks before expiration, one of the things that happens if you've been trading for a while, you notice things get very different as you pull into expiration as to the way you're affected by price and volatility and things like that. And there's certain ways or things that should be changed in your rule set when you come into those ranges. And we talk about things like that. We talk about tuning your trading to the market. We talk about different hedging choices for the M3. In the program, we primarily display one type of hedge, or something, maybe actually 2 or 3 types of hedges in the M3 program, but there's many other things that you can do and other things that are effective as well, depending on the situation. And we talk about, with the hedging choices, when is it better to do one over the other and so forth and things like that. We spend a lot of time on trade execution. Trade execution is just so important because we know the rules work in back trading and so forth, and they work in live trading as well. But if you cannot execute effectively, you are losing a lot of money. You're leaving a lot of money on the table. And if you can execute very effectively, you can make so much more money. So trade execution is very, very important. We talk about modeling. We talk about doing contingent orders, exiting complex positions, and we also talk about adjusting complex positions. One of the things is sometimes when you become good at trading and you get out of this configuration of having to be in a series of butterflies or a butterfly and a call, you'll just have options at strikes at different strike levels all over the place. And to some people, that can be very confusing on how to exit. And we go over how to exit complex positions and adjust complex positions. We talk about trading psychology, where we're looking at the stages of mastery in options income trading. We look at advanced capital control. In other words, if you need to make adjustments and you don't have the money to do it, and you need to stay under a certain capital level, how do we make those adjustments and stay within our capital levels? Or how do we just reduce capital levels in our trade in general and make trade more efficiently? So we talk about stuff like that. Trading psychology, how to adapt the M3 and the bearish butterfly to other instruments or other assets. We look at trade planning, like if we do M21, the trade planning process. Definitely take a look at that, because we are covering the M3, the bearish butterfly, rock, and M21 programs in these sessions. We look at trading small positions. The programs themselves are generally, for the most part, demonstrated with $50,000 positions. In the coaching programs, we take a long look at doing $5,000 positions, right? So that you understand how to trade them smaller, because there is quite a bit of difference when you go small. We talk about technical analysis. We talk about entry considerations to the M3 and bearish butterfly. When may you want to change your entry from 56 days to something a little bit different? Under what conditions? And we also have a lot of M21 strategies. If you look, this list just goes on and on and on for a long time. We also have the cat position, as a standalone trade. Well, what's a cat position? Well, that's part of the M21, the rock trading system. You can trade that in its own position, as you can trade the M3R also as its own trade, and some of the other configurations within that. We also have presentations by people such as Mike Schwartz. He did this in 2013. It's now 2015, and he's still going strong long term. It's almost 2016, right? We have discussions with David Thomas, who's currently one of our mentors. Again, somebody I started with back in the 2007, 2008 range. And he's done well over the years, and he's still going. And as a matter of fact, he's taught his family and several of my students, or our students now, I should say, how to do very, very well in the markets. So, like I said, lots and lots of information here. It just goes on and on. So SMB has called this the Master Class Series. It's 64 hours of premium continuing education on the bearish butterfly, the M3, and the rock. Again, also including trading psychology and dealing with lots of nuances that may happen in the programs. This is how you get your graduate degree in the strategies. This series uses the best teaching format that's worked for thousands of years, and it's a mentoring model where we come in and we have questions, essentially a presentation or answer questions from the students, and we go through the presentation and they can ask questions as we go along, and we can have some interaction, and this is very, very effective learning. And we did the series over a 2.5-year period to show you how the trades are managed in many, many different market environments. The series was recorded over a 2.5-year period to show you how the trades managed the many different market situations across a long period of time. And again, at the time, all the sessions were dealing with actual issues that were happening at the time, which is really, really cool and really, really relevant when you think about it. There's just, like I said, there's just an amazing amount of information here. Before you would be interested in something like this, you would want to make sure that you understood the basics of what you need before you come in, or the prerequisites before you come in. This is coaching on programs such as the M3, the bearish butterfly, the rock, and the M21. If you are not familiar with the M3 and the bearish butterfly, you would want to go back and familiarize yourself with them first, and probably purchase those programs and trade them for a little while so that you get a basic idea of what's going on. And then you could come in and do something like this. You don't necessarily need to have the rock or the M21, although there's a lot of material on the rock and M21 within the series. Most of it you'll be able to understand if you understand the M3 and the bearish butterfly, and if you like what you see with the Rock and the M21, then certainly, then if you need some background material, you can certainly go back and fill in what you need to get there. So what we're going to have is we're having a private sale, and the pricing on the sale is available till December 1st. If you look at most of SMBU or SMB University courses, they cost, and you went out and you said, well, how much per hour is within this course? Generally, the courses cost about $100 to $150 an hour, and they're well worth it because they're such high-level courses. However, the Masterclass series is available until December 1st for only $43.52 an hour when you figure this out. So that's like a third of the price you'd have to pay if you went out and got this material on your own. So it's really, really great deal. So it's 64 hours of on-demand videos. We have recorded over 2.5 years of various market conditions, invaluable. And this is lifetime access to the material, so that you can take as long as you need to review it. And of course, if you have questions in the future, you can always come back to it, which is a great benefit as well. So there's also a bonus if you purchase before December 1st, 2015, then you get 10% off any remaining courses that are mine. For John Locke, that would be the M3, the bearish butterfly, the Rock, the M21 courses that are available through SMB until the end of 2015. The normal price for this masterclass series is $3,785. Our private sale is $2,785, so that is $1,000 off, which is a huge discount from retail. And as a bonus, we get 10% off any of the programs that I sell through SMB through December 31st, 2015. And again, the private sale ends on December 1st. So what you can do is you can get your masterclass series now. You can review the lessons taught for our special discount or our private sale pricing before December 1st. If you'd like to do that, you just simply go to smbu.com/master, and that will bring you to this page where we can see right here we have our timer and let you know when it ends, and you simply click this button here and that will bring you right into the order screen. It's as easy as that. And then as a bonus, if you're reviewing the masterclass series and you find that you would like to fill in any of the information that you do not know, then you could come in and get an additional 10% off any M3, bearish butterfly, Rock, or M21 program. This is a fantastic deal on an awful lot of material, and if you want to become a master trader, then this is for you. I'd like to thank you for attending. I hope the information presented was extremely beneficial for you, and I look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.